Today, when the name Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is taken, it is seldom without the mention of his constant and humongous efforts in India's unification, be it through presenting the vision of India to its people or to those who governed it. But we often tend to miss the actual involvement that India's Iron Man had in this process, the hundreds of letters and the uncountable hours it took. Today, on his 145th birth anniversary, our National Unity Day, we attempt exactly that. Namaste India, a very happy National Unity Day. Welcome to New India Junction. I am Nivedita Tiwari, and today we'll get to know more about India's perfect statesman, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, through his letters. Realpolitik is what best describes Sardar Patel, a leader who understood the circumstances and created the best possible policies, someone who was deeply aware. Today, as our efforts and focus lie with creating a new India, we can easily see the similarities with what Sardar Patel had envisioned for this India. A unified, inclusive, dedicated and self-sufficient nation committed to widespread development of its people. There have been times in the Indian history when visionary statesmen and women have emerged, they have strived for excellence, and they are remembered for that. Let's take a quick stroll down that historical lane. Mahatma Gandhi's defiant stand and his simple oratory that won even the British hearts in London. B.R. Ambedkar and his visionary approach to our constitution. Sarojini Naidu and her compassion. Atal Bihari Vajpayee and his sense of pride in his country, its heritage, which he displayed in the UNGA when poetic Hindi echoed across its halls. And who can forget Sushma Swaraj's powerful speeches? Sardar Patel was appreciated by his contemporaries, those who opposed him, and even the British officers who were forced to accept India's independence. Consider this excerpt from a letter that Sardar Patel sent to Lord Mountbatten dated 13th August 1947, just 2 days before independence. Any award against the weight of local opinion and of the terms of reference or without any referendum to ascertain the will of the people concerned must therefore be construed a collusive or partisan award and will have therefore to be repudiated by us. This with regard to a region inhabited by the tribes from Chittagong being considered as a part of East Bengal, now Bangladesh. Even when the country was on the cusp of winning a 2-century-long battle, Sardar Patel was vehemently working towards the welfare of even the smallest minorities. His attitude towards the Indian citizens, states and their respective rulers was always filled with pragmatism. To him, there was no alternative except a united India governed on democratic principles. It is possible that because of this very pragmatism and visionary statesmanship, the Viceroy Lord Mountbatten had this to say in one of his final letters to Sardar Patel, dated August 14, 1947. After our first tussle, I always felt that we should become friends, and I believe history will prove that this friendship played a very vital part in obtaining a peaceful solution and speedy transfer of power to a dominion of India, which, with the states, will be greater than the British India was by itself. Thank you also for your trust and support in the problem of the Indian states. Future generations will appreciate the full effect of the wise policy you have followed. This talk of unification received much attention when the state of Jammu and Kashmir was finally integrated into the Indian Union as the Union Territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. In the context of this unification, Sardar Patel, in his capacity as the Home Minister, had this to say to the erstwhile Maharaja on October 2, 1947. I am expediting as much as possible the linking up of the state with the Indian Dominion by means of telegraph, telephones, wireless and roads. We fully realize the need for dispatch and urgency, and I can assure you that we shall do our best. Venkaiah Naidu, India's current Vice President, has also pointed out that the issue of national integration was a particularly difficult one because the states were given the option of either joining India or Pakistan. But Sardar Patel's inexhaustible tact, pioneering vision and remarkable statesmanship had enabled the emergence of a unified India. It was actually Sardar Patel and his futuristic vision of India that enabled a historical chapter to be written, ironically, in defiance of history. Such was the man, and so was his mission. In a letter, he had also said, "It is wise to recognize the sign of times, and it is unwise to persist in old theories which are antiquated." In the same regard, Sardar Patel had been against raising the Kashmir issue at the United Nations because he thought it would eventually pivot on completely irrelevant aspects. After 70 years as an independent nation, India finally managed to do, to a certain extent, what Sardar Patel would have wanted. The Iron Man of India had always been in favor of reaching a solution internally and wherever required, bilaterally. But his exclusion from the absolute decision-making process in J&K is even today considered as a poorly thought of conclusion. However, today the Sardar, while still connected resolutely to his state Gujarat, manages to do exactly what he did over a century ago. Rise above differences, be made of iron-like will, be a pillar of strength, and most importantly, be steadfast in our beliefs, almost like a statue, which, in the case of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, is but of course of unity. Keep watching New India Junction. Namaste.